October the 14th is coming, so should you upgrade to Windows 11? Should you switch to Linux? Or should you do anything at all? We're going to talk about that. Hi, Chibi Neko here. So yes, the 14th is vastly approaching, and there's a niche joke going on around in the tech community calling the 14th International Switch to Linux Day. And and I know it's a joke, but it's not as unreasonable as it sounds. Like, no, people aren't going to be switching to Linux en masse, but a lot of people have been talking about it. And that is because of the issues that the end of life, the end of security updates is going to be causing with the end of Windows 10. The number one reason would be the absurd system requirements to run Windows 11. A lot of people, and we're talking like millions and millions of computers, have been running Windows 11 quite comfortably without any issues, and now they feel like they're having the rug pulled from underneath them. Now, I know there's an argument, oh, well, Microsoft gave people a full year to upgrade. Well, if you have an older computer and it's been running just fine, especially if you're only using it for emails and word processing and watching Netflix and YouTube, why would you upgrade your hardware? Because this is what Microsoft is saying. It's like, oh, you want to keep security upgrades? Well, you gotta toss out that computer and buy a new one. But here's the thing though. One, the computer is working just fine. Two, this is going to cause a ton of e-waste. Not to mention, not just anyone can go out and buy a brand new computer. To get a laptop, like even a decent one, can cost you like $300 to $500. And that's probably the reason why most people kept their computers to begin with. Again, if they're working fine, why would you go get a new one? So yes, that would be the number one obstacle to switching to Windows 11. Now, the system requirements for Linux is a potato with an outlet. Case in point would be this MSI U100 notebook series. This is from 2008, 2009, and according to the license sticker, this was released with Windows XP. And the sticker inside says, yeah, designed for Windows XP. So yeah, what I did is I went online, I found Q4 OS, put it on, and it works great. Yes, it's a little slow on boot up, and it can't really cope well with the modern internet, but it does have Wi-Fi. If you have something on your USB, if you want to watch or listen to, this thing works perfectly. So what should you do come October 14th? Well, there are a few options that I'm going to talk about here, but as always, when you're doing any major changes to your computer, especially involving the operating system, you should always back up your data. Do not use the cloud. The cloud is just someone else's computer in another location, hence it has the potential to be compromised. Use an external hard drive, a HDD or SSD, whatever. Like, don't go online. Don't do it. And for those of you who think I'm being paranoid, I promise you I'm not. In fact, as recently as last year, someone from Ontario was caught in a cloud hacking scheme. They were trying to do the cloud storage Snowflake. Thank goodness they did not succeed, because they could have taken everyone's personal data and held it hostage. In fact, I think it was a few years earlier, there was someone who had his cloud hacked into, and he was being blackmailed for not doing what the hacker wanted. So like, this is real. Keep it on an external drive. They can't get this if you have it unplugged. Anyway, moving along. So option number one, say if you do have the system requirements for Windows 11 and you want to upgrade anyway, well, why not? You can upgrade by going to your Microsoft Update, or I strongly recommend that you make a bootable hard drive with an ISO. So you go to Microsoft.com, go to download Windows 11, scroll down, and there you go. You just click on the Windows 11 Multi-Edition ISO, pick your language, you use an ISO software such as Rufus. Right here, it is probably the best one to use. It's portable, so you don't have to install it or anything like that. And there you go. Just put this in your computer, in your BIOS, just make it to boot from USB, and you're good to go. However, I do recommend that you isolate your Windows 11 because it is still spyware. It uses telemetry to take your information and send it off to the mothership. So once you have Windows 11 freshly installed, you can go and use Talon. This is my favorite method. The only problem is Microsoft doesn't like Talon, so you will have to temporarily whitelist your C drive to use this. And Talon, it does everything for you. It debloats debloats Windows 11. It makes it more efficient, faster. It even removes OneDrive. It removes the telemetry. It removes Copilot, even Edge. You heard me, Microsoft Edge. Now, of course, you want control over, even further control. You can download, shut up Windows 10 and 11. Talon is really good for removing the telemetry, but you can still have manual control over your telemetry with this. This also allows you to take control of the updates. Yes, I do still update Windows. However, I never do it automatically simply because there have been problems. I like to know it's being updated and if there are any bugs before doing so. So this just gives you even more control. Once Talon is installed, you can, turn on Windows Defender as normal. And the great thing about this is the older methods, when you would update Windows security, Microsoft will like to go into your settings, everything you changed and uninstalled, they like to put them back. No, once you make the changes to your system, you're removing Edge and OneDrive and Copilot and made it isolated, it does not come back after Windows Update. It doesn't. That's how good this is. So kudos to Team Raven for making Talon. When I do a fresh install of Windows 11, which might happen eventually, I'll be doing this again. Like, this is amazing. But say you don't want to upgrade to Windows 11 because you don't like it or don't have the system requirements. The next thing you can do is probably the one I recommend the most, and that would be switch to Linux, especially if you're just using a regular home computer for home purposes and it's not a powerful machine, like it's older. There's a Linux out there for you. And the thing is, like, they're very, very user-friendly. People think that it's like, oh, it's too complicated. It's not. My favorite version of Linux is Linux Mint. It has a very Windows environment. So if this is your first time using Linux, this is probably the one I recommend the most just to get your feet wet. Now, I'm using the Cinnamon Edition. It's great for newer computers. But if you have an older machine, something that's 5 years or older, you can still, use Mint. They have XFCE Edition, even the Mate Edition. Like, these are very, very lightweight. I have a much older computer, laptop that has only about 30 gigs of memory in it, hard drive space, and I'm using the XFCE Edition without a hitch. And of course, there are a lot of gamers out there. People are hesitant to switch for gaming reasons. Well, Linux has been making leaps and bounds. The compatibility layers are amazing. So, and of course, you don't even have to install it. You can just put on a bootable disk, run it from your USB, and try it. So yeah. Now with much older computers, say if you have a potato or a semi-good potato, like I have a few of, you can use Linux Lite. Very, very minimal system requirements. You can also use Puppy Linux. Both very lightweight, and they have a GUI, graphical user interface, which is very easy to use. Again, if you're only using it for surfing the web, type an email, word processing, these Linux systems will do what you need to do. But what if Linux is not an option? What if you have that one piece of software that you have to use Windows, but you still need to upgrade to Windows 11 to get those security updates? Well, you can brute force it onto your computer. Oh yes, and this is where Rufus, again, comes in. So what you do is you download your Windows ISO image disk with Rufus. And the best thing about this is not only can you use Rufus to brute force Windows onto your computer bypassing the system requirements, you can do this. You can also remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account. You can disable data collection, so you skip all the privacy questions. Although, like, still, I would still recommend you use shut up for added control. But yes, this does make the install run smoothly. Now, on the air caution, yes, this does work. However, who's to say that down the road Microsoft won't have an update that specifies the new hardware requirements, such as the TPM 2.0? This can cause problems in the future. So, again, if you're going to do this, disable automatic updates, and when updates do come out, read what they do and what they're affecting, because if you have Windows 11 brute forced onto a system that does not have TPM 2.0, but the update involves the TPM 2.0, this could cause a lot of complications. So yes, if you have to, go for it. Just be careful and keep up to date as to what is going on in Microsoft world. So the final option is you can just keep Windows 10. You gotta remember, October 14 doesn't mean Windows 10 is going to stop working. It just means that Microsoft is no longer going to be supporting it or providing any security updates. Which means down the road, if a new vulnerability is discovered, Microsoft is not going to do anything to help you. But you just have to stay more vigilant when you're going online. Most of the issues with online security can be solved from the user's end and just being more aware of what you're doing. So, and it's basically common sense. One, keep Windows Defender turned on. It's still pretty good even at end of life. Don't open links in emails that you don't know what they are. Don't share any private info, and don't go to any shady websites that has malware embedded in them. So get your adult porn from a trusted site. You can also get additional layers of protection, so you can get a VPN. It encrypts your data while you're online. Model that is, I would say, the best one for you to get. You can also get free software to protect yourself from malware and viruses, and it's always constantly being updated. Bitdefender is one that I personally use. I have nothing but great experience with it. So with all that in mind, play safe, kids. So me, what am I doing personally? Well, I use Linux Mint as my primary driver. I do have a dual boot, so I also boot up into Windows 10, but only if I need to do advanced photo editing in Adobe Photoshop, which is almost never these days. It's like the meme of Rita Repulsa. Each time I boot into Windows 10, it's like, oh, after 10,000 years, I'm free. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about what's going on with 10, but I do have a plan though. I will be doing, I'll be using Rufus when the time comes. I will remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account, use a local account. I will still be using Shut Up Windows 10 11 to disable automatic updates so I have full control. And I will be going in with Talon to remove all the junk, make it usable, and I'll be using OpenShell to give Windows the classic look. Because if you were to boot into my Windows 10 right now, you would think I was still using Windows 98. I just great nostalgia for that system. But anyway, yeah, that is my perspective on the whole situation. It sucks. It really sucks that Microsoft is using this tactic to force people to throw out perfectly good machines to get new ones. But hey, what Microsoft doesn't know is we have options. We can use Linux. We can brute force Windows 11. And if you're smart about it, we can still keep using Windows 10 for a while at least. So anyway, the 14th's coming. Stay safe, know your options, and have fun. Anyway, this is Chibi Neko signing out. Bye.